Fogelman, who has this huge hit with This Is Us, I was on 2 shows ago of his playing an alien.
Yes. Oh my God, I love that show.
It was called The Neighbors.
The Neighbors.
And the whole gag was we were aliens assimilating suburbia. So we trying to fit in. Well, there were 20 of us literally dressed exactly alike in like Adidas, like golf and tennis attire, and it is so funny because I worked since the pilot, and most all of us aliens, it was so great because they wanted it to look like America, and we had every literally shape, size, ethnicity. It was the great, most diverse, fun group of people.
What a show. That would have been a joy to be on. Boy.
Oh, well, that was the pilot. But I've got to tell you this, because I've been a plus size woman all my life. Yeah. And it was so funny because they give us these, on the pilot, we got our costumes, because the whole thing is, instead of like background, when you do background on Modern Family or any other show, you take your own clothes and then the wardrobe goes through it. And, so everybody's not in pink or everybody's not in, they do mix and match. So it's a cohesive look.
Right.
Well, on The Neighbors, they provided all these, beautiful golf attire things for us because we all had to look the same.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been heavy all my life. They gave me this skirt, a golf skirt. That, oh my God. I looked at it and I thought, these legs hadn't seen the light of day in years, much less in a skirt that, is a yard of material or whatever, or in my case, a couple yards. So it was the first time Disney and ABC bought me my very first pair of Spanx. I had never known. I don't go clubbing and, I don't care if I have rolls because I obviously have rolls. I literally never knew what Spanx were. That they're these like suck me up pantyhose that literally smooth and shape everything. And I'll never forget my daughter. I think because you sign these non-disclosures and stuff, but I did take a picture of me in my golf attire from the pilot, and my daughter goes, "Mom, you look skinny." I've never had anybody say that. But so when it ended up getting picked up, because they do the pilots usually February, March, or usually February is I think when we did it. All Mr. Fogelman and the creators, he created the show, and everybody else who was on the show, they literally kept most all of us aliens, the original core of us, like 20 aliens, for the entire run of the show.
Oh,
and I had, I think, 24 episodes.
Yeah.
And it was probably one of the most fun jobs. And crew, everybody will say that, because we were doing not hijinks. It was just different, and it was so fun and fresh. And I just think it was sort of before its time, But God love it. Since then, I've been able to. The man who. Okay. Oh. Wait, I'm gonna get you mixed up time-wise, but so that was still background. But in the meantime, I've auditioned for This Is Us 3 different times.
Yeah.
One would have been a guest star for on their biggest episode ever for This Is Us as the crock pot lady when Jack, Milo Ventimiglia's character, gets killed.
Right.
So, but that, okay. Again, full circle, that casting director, Josh Einson, I met as a teacher at camp one year at the Young Actors Theater Camp.
Right.
And Josh and I we've become friends since then, but we're more acquaintances.
Yeah.
And he also, I will do anything in the world for Josh, because he cast me in my biggest role to date, in Joe Dirt 2.
Yes.
Yes. Opposite David Spade.
Yes.
David Spade and I they flew me to New Orleans, and my husband, God love him, he is the best sport in the world. He's out taking pictures on a Sunday morning in the dark, me getting in a town car that they sent to whisk me off to New Orleans. And I did. I felt like queen for a day, or the belle of the ball. It was the most exciting thing. But David and I had 11 pages of dialogue, just the two of us.
Yeah.
One to one. I played this character, and the part of the gag is, you know how Tom Hanks and as Forrest Gump, he meets a woman on the bus stop and he tells his entire story, his life story, you know, to
On
this
the
woman,
bench.
stranger. Yeah. Well, I'm the woman on the bench that Joe Dirt tells his last, 14 years or whatever since the last movie. So I'm the setup for all the flashback scenes for David. And David, I gotta say this, another thing, and I'll say it publicly because I've said it before. David plays the most snarky, smarmy, wackadoodle characters.
Yeah.
But he truly, David, couldn't have been a more kind, generous scene partner. You would never know he was number one on the call sheet. He was just, it was just two actors shooting the breeze. I mean, we literally, it was the best experience. And Fred Wolf, who directed the movie, I think he and David co-wrote the movie. And Joe Dirt too may not be everybody's cup of tea, but it definitely has a cult following. And it was so neat because we didn't have a chemistry read, nothing. I mean, I had never met Fred or David. They flew me to New Orleans, and God love Josh Einson for casting me. I'll be forever grateful to him. But Fred Wolf came up to me and he introduced himself and he said, and mind you, Fred Wolf was the head writer on Saturday Night Live for, I think, 99 episodes.
Ooh.
Yeah. So he's the man who's going to be directing me for the day. And he said, now David will throw you stuff, just throw it right back. And as you know, as an actor, when a director gives you permission to play, I mean, it was
You play.
it was fabulous. We froze our buns off. I was in a silk blouse and a camisole, and in the film, my hair literally is going sideways because it's, I think, November 16th. I know it was in November. Anyway, and then he's in the Joe Dirt mullet wig. He's got, you know, a long sleeve shirt on. He's got the vest. He's got the jeans and the boots. Yeah. And I'm in a camisole and a silk blouse. But we about froze our buds off, but we had the most fun. And there's a point in the movie, I think that, you know how, you know, things are scripted, but you know how when you can see another actor crack each other up?
Yeah.
And there's a place in the movie, in one of my clips, that I can see David laughing at Tracy, not Joe. And the whole gag is, he tells me his whole life, my billing on this, the billing on my, or my credit on the end of the credits is woman. So I know everything and he doesn't even know my name. But I saw David again, and he writes wonderful books. Yeah. He wrote a book, his first book that he wrote. I went to Barnes and Noble there at the Grove there.
Yeah, I love it there.
And I wear my official Joe Dirt 2 crew t-shirt from my gift box that included a blonde wig, a blonde mullet wig, like a Joe Dirt cap, and Spam and Cheetos. But I wore that to the, and we got a great picture of the two of us, you know, and he signed my book, Woman on Bench.
Oh my God. Now, how many days did you shoot on that film?
We actually only shot one whole day, but it was, I think it was their first day of shooting there in New Orleans. And it was for Sony's Crackle. And it was the first, I think maybe one of the first studios online, you know, it was a big deal. Yeah. Because it was one of the first studio films that they made, one of the first that they made for the internet. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of the suits, the Sony suits, were there that day too. And it was just a blast. But the night before, there was a tornado warning. And I'm in my hotel room in Covington, Louisiana, which is across the causeway. And I thought, oh, great. I get my big break, there could be a tornado.
Oh no.
But anyway, I
But it
just
passed.
I will sing
Yes.
David. I will if David Spade. I'll support him in any way. He was so kind to me. Anyway,
Oh, I love those stories. And you seem to have so many of those stories. And you seem, what I love too is you're so, I mean, you've been in the business now for years,
35 years.
35 years, and you're still excited about it.
Oh,
Some
I
people,
I get tickled. I have to tell you this because of Mrs. Maisel.
yeah,
I got to work with Tony Shalhoub on Monk in maybe 2009,
yeah,
and talk about classy. He came up to me and the man playing my father in our scene. We were on location at an older theater. I want to say West Covina, I think is where it was. He came up to me and he introduced Mr. Shalhoub, Tony Shalhoub. He came up to me, shook my hand. Hello, I'm Tony. It's an honor to work with you. I mean, how classy is that? And
oh,
so, I mean, I voted for him for the Emmys for Miss Maisel and everything because, I mean,
isn't it so great for the people that you see on TV, or you see that you, like for me growing up, and finally when you meet them, a lot of times they're so wonderful, and it's such a blessing when that happens.
usually the bigger ones are, because the whole thing about it trickles down,
Yeah.
and Mr. Shalhoub, in fact, I told Brooke Adams a couple of years ago, I think at the SAG Awards, we were passing each other by the ladies' room, and I just said to his wife, Brooke Adams, I said, this is going to sound crazy, but would you please thank your husband for the kindness he showed me when I filmed Monk? I mean, it just,
Oh,
I mean, for that to stay with me this many years later,
yeah.
and it's about the gratitude and the graciousness of, if again, kind, professional. If we're all nice to everybody, we'll all have jobs because nothing goes quicker, like even in like in a service industry, I always try to pay it forward.
Yeah.
If we have a great server, or the person at the Lowe's, that's the most recent one I did. I mean, because people are always real quick, as my grandmother would say, to gritch and moan, gritch and moan. you
Christian
know
mode.
yeah, but so when we have those positive experiences in
Right.
life, no matter what is, pat people on the back. It just, we don't have enough of that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I could like to keep doing this for hours with you, because just hanging out with you is a
oh my
joy.
gosh.
I mean,
Well, I've had a blast.
and I do have to say that most of your work has been comedy, but you did do a serious
Oh,
film, didn't you?
I played a really crappy teacher. I do a lot of teachers, teachers, nurses, diner waitresses, lunch ladies, now I've graduated to judge, and things, I can be serious, but
Yeah.
it's the one time that I did a drama role, it was in a big international film, which, mind you, again, I'm so naive, like on Silverado and Wyatt Earp, I mean, I'm working with the cream of the crop of Hollywood, and I think movie making is so nice and everybody's so pleasant. I didn't realize that that's not how it usually is. I was just blessed early on. Well, this movie I did, that I played a very ugly uh, uh, teacher that says something very cutting to a young person,
Yeah.
and it was a movie called My Name Is Khan. It was a Fox Searchlight film, and I was so thrilled to have a Fox Searchlight film. Well, I didn't know at the time that a man named Shah Rukh Khan, who is the biggest person on the other side, box office on the other side of the ocean, it was his film and he was starring in it, because my scenes weren't with him or anything. But I think it was their first day in filming, but that we did. But it was interesting. I had shot this film, and when I say this disparaging thing to a young person, and I had I don't know if you, okay, I always mispronounce his name. Kanal Nayar, who played Raj on Big Bang.
Yes.
He and I were at a theater event downtown one day, and I'd shot this film, and I said, can I ask you just an actor to actor cultural question? He says, sure. And this was before Big Bang, was the big, huge hit it was. But
Right.
very nice, again, another lovely guy. I said, will people in India, because it was a big Bollywood film, and it's about Muslims and Hinduism and all sorts of stuff. I said, will they know I'm acting? Because, will it translate as far as, will somebody know I'm just acting? And I'm not really this mean, ugly person. And he said, we had this whole lovely discussion about, like if you played a rapist, and we talked about Schindler's List and stuff. And he had read the script, and he knew exactly it's a teeny tiny scene,
Yeah,
but it's pretty, powerful.
yeah.
And he knew exactly what I was talking about. And we had that whole discussion. And so it was in post-production for a very long time. And it came out in February, and I went to see it because, you want to see yourself on the big screen. And thankfully, they had cut my last most searing line. And, I went like, whew. Well, so that was that. I was still in the movie. I was thrilled, to see your name on the credits and everything. Well, then in April, they had the
DVD.
International Indian Film Festival
Oh,
up at the ArcLight. And I thought, oh, I really want to see it again. But, I don't want people to throw tomatoes at me. I was really a little worried.
yeah.
And I went, I felt like Meryl Streep. People were asking me for my autograph. I mean, it was so fabulous. I remember that happened when we did your Good Man, Charlie Brown. The kids would ask us for autographs afterwards. And I'd think, do you know how hard it is to give an autograph and then go home and wash dishes? So,
Oh my gosh! Now you got to wear rubber gloves when you sign autographs and a mask.
But anyway, but it was just, I had such trepidation. I'd always done comedy, and I mean, I would love to do a really kind of, dramatic role, but I just was really worried that people would hate me because of it and not realize that I'm acting.
And the thing is, it's that sensitivity that you have that goes into your roles and brings so many levels to them. So that's what.
You should be my agent. I love this. Or no, my publicist. I have two great agents. You should be my publicist.
What advice would you give to actors? Especially, I mean, we have actors at Performing Arts Studio West and Meet the Biz, and then out there in the YouTube universe. What advice?
Well, can I back up a little bit about, because I thank you for all the work you do with. I don't want to be politically incorrect. Not special needs. What do you call your talent? Special
Actors.
I know, but the word's not disabled. What is it?
Oh God, what is like in Meet the Biz is a program that bridges the gap between ability and disability.
Okay.
So that's what what it's out there saying.
Well, I must tell you this because it means quite a bit to me. What you do is can I say do you mind something personal? I mean,
Whatever you'd like to say.
Our youngest daughter, when she was 23, she had a 5.5 week preterm little baby, and he ended up being okay, but our daughter, she ended up having congestive heart failure and a very dense stroke that paralyzed her.
From the birth?
Yeah, pericardiomyopathy is the heart thing, and then the stroke. And she was paralyzed from head to toe on her left side. She had so I went back I was just back in New Mexico to take care of a newborn. Well, I was there 6 months with our daughter. At 23, she was only 23 at the time. And it ended up where she was in the medical hospital for 10 days and then I think 35 days in the rehab hospital, inpatient. But she she spent her 20, she spent Christmas, New Year's, and her 24th birthday inpatient in hospital. And, you know, having a newborn baby, this is supposed to be their most joyous time of their lives. And I am especially pleased with the work you do, because with our daughter, well, I'm sure she wouldn't mind me naming her name. Her name's Melanie. And I took Melanie every day when she became an outpatient at this rehab hospital, because she almost died 3 different times in the medical hospital. And I took her and her newborn son, little tiny baby, and I went to this rehab hospital every day, Monday through Friday, for speech, physical therapy, and occupational therapy for her rehabilitation. And it was so funny. It would be Melanie with her one working hand pushing the stroller, and me pushing her wheelchair down these long, you know, halls in a hospital. And we only took out a laundry cart once on the dirt. So, but in these big rehab gyms, it was me, you know, I would sit there with the baby, while she did all her therapies. And it was so neat because so many people, I mean, she had just turned 24 because her birthday's in January. And so to people who are in a rehab hospital, either have broken a hip or head injury or different maladies or accidents or whatever. But she was such an inspiration to all the people, the fellow patients and caregivers there and therapists, you know, because here she was with this teeny tiny baby. Yeah. And as her physical therapist said, Tracy, we don't get a lot of bright spots here. And just seeing them, I know it helped so many other people, everybody at the hospital, to see her making her comeback with this teeny tiny baby. And my grandson had so many older lady girlfriends before he was 3 months old, because everybody, you know, he was spoiled by all the billing and cooing older ladies there at the things. And even one time, I never thought that I would, if I didn't bring Jaden, my grandson, to therapy one day, people you never even thought would even pay attention. This one time, this crotchety old man who's probably in his 80s, he'd go, "Where's our boy today?" And, I mean, they just inspired so many other people just to help get well, because, you know, they thought, well, if they can do it, you know, we can do it. So it was neat. And then, interestingly enough, my eldest daughter, Marina, she became an occupational therapist and worked. She got two bachelor's degrees, and then she got her master's in occupational therapy and worked at the same rehab hospital that her sister was inpatient in.
Full circle.
Yeah. And a cool story about that is what's lymphedema is, I can't really explain what lymphedema really is because I won't be medically correct, but when your joints and everything swells, yeah, and it's very uncomfortable. And I mean, there's a lot to it, but I can't quite explain it. She became certified in lymphedema. Well, one time, I've done a lot of talent escorting as a volunteer for a lot of award shows. And every year I would work the Paley Fest up at the Dolby Theater, the 3,000 seat Dolby Theater, where they do the Oscars every year. Well, I was backstage, and Kathy Bates, Oscar winner Kathy Bates, was there backstage. She was there for Ryan Murphy's American Horror Story. Yes. Yeah. And another dream is for me to work with Ryan Murphy. Anybody knows Ryan Murphy, please feel free to banter my name around.
He's amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. I remember auditioning for Glee for him years ago, and it was a producer's session. And I remember walking into the room, and it was like 9 people at like an L-shaped table. And I mean, it just, you know, I probably wasn't ready for the opportunity at the time, but I think that's probably the last time I auditioned. Yeah, I remember auditioning for him. But anyway, getting back to the Kathy Bates story, I Kathy Bates, because of her, she had had ovarian cancer, and then she had a double mastectomy, and she suffered from lymphedema, this condition that's painful, but she says hers is mild compared to so many people. And I thought, when am I ever going to be in the same space as Kathy Bates? And usually, if I'm wearing someone else's hat, I'm not Tracy the actor. I'm representing them, and I will never overstep that professionalism. But I thought, I'm seizing the day. So I went up to Miss Bates, introduced myself, and I said, yes, Miss Bates, I just want to tell you my daughter, who's an occupational therapist, she just got her certification in lymphedema treatment. And her eyes brightened, and she said, oh, please thank her for me. And she ended up giving me a big hug, and she asked me to pass it on to my daughter. And I know my daughter, my eldest, she helps so many people. And because she goes now, they live on the East Coast, and she goes to people's rural homes, or like she's not in a rehab hospital anymore. She goes to their homes, and this care that people would never normally get otherwise. But Kathy Bates, oh, she just was so thrilled, because I mean, it was, especially back then, it was probably what, 5 years ago, and it was so specialized that nobody really, it was just like sort of a condition that was getting more awareness.
Right.
And I knew she was the national spokesperson. I thought, well, I'm just going to tell her. And she, again, was so wonderfully kind.
It seems like you follow your gut a lot, and you just go.
Oh, yeah.
And your path is, there it is. You just keep on going.
I tell the young people, your guts will never let you down. In fact, that's one of the things at camp. We do a thing. And, I always say, how you can see other people's deals so much more clearly than you can see your own. Like your best friend whose boyfriend treats her crappy and blah, blah, blah. And, you can always see other people's deals, as I call it, much more clearly than you can see your own. And we talk about instinct. And I say, have you ever, done something that you knew? I mean, and not anything bad or anything, but, just when you have an unsettled feeling, you have to listen to your guts. I said, it's like your North Star. It'll never let you down, but you have to listen to it, because so many people take the turn that, and it doesn't have to be anything bad, but, it always ends up working out.
I tell you, the one time I didn't listen to that, I got hurt on the set, and thank God I'm still,
Oh my gosh.
Story.
So it was a safety thing.
It was a safety thing. And some little voice in my gut said, David, I don't know about this. I even went to calm me. I was like nervous for some reason. And I even went to a hypnotherapist, and they said, oh, you'll be fine. But still, I've had this. And then I got hurt on the set. Anyway, I won't go into it, but I got a herniated disc, and, it could have been worse. And it was, anyway, but exactly what you say, you listen to that gut and you go for it, and you really follow that heart.
Oh.
What is your biggest joy in life?
You asked me about advice, and I went on a tear. So sorry.
Oh, I loved it. It was incredible advice.
Well, just because I wanted to, especially anybody who has special needs, or anybody, it doesn't matter what it is, just don't take no for an answer. Keep your eye on the prize, and even if people don't get why we just have to do this, and it doesn't matter, and it's a respect, be kind and respectful to everybody, and it's more life lessons, than acting, of course, being present. One of my mentors, one of my early mentors, one time when I worked at this ad agency, I would say something like, my friend Peggy and I, oh, I have a headache. And she would say, and my kids say this, and I'm sure all the campers remember this, I say, oh, I have a headache. She'd say, choose again. And we always have a choice. And because I was giving power to the headache, you know? So I love when she said, and she doesn't have a sing-songy voice, but she would say, choose again. And that really, we always have a choice. Again, you can be the victor or the victim. And I don't know, I just think our attitudes, just keeping your eye on the prize and that sunshine, because these days, especially, look how easy it would be to go to gloom and doom. And that's not my thing, because that takes just as much power to go to the gloom and doom as it does. I don't care if people think I'm Little Mary Sunshine, whatever, it makes my heart, it lifts my heart to just be positive. And I've always been a cockeyed optimist. I think I came out of the womb that way. I don't know why. I just am always pretty happy. The whole high on life. In fact, my old boss used to say, Trace, I wouldn't admit that this is normal. And I said, I'm sure that's a compliment. Because people sometimes think I'm, drunk or something. But just because I laugh and I have a silly time of it. But anyway. Oh, this has been so much fun. I'm not an internet virgin YouTube person anymore.
Not anymore.
It took me a few zillion years.
Love it. Thank you so much.
I've had a blast. Oh my gosh. This has been a hoot. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Just everybody just keep on keeping on and never lose your joy. Choose joy, That's all. And also laugh. Laughing helps a lot about a lot of things.
Cut.
Thank you, David, and everyone for spending your time with me. I just totally forgot, though, to tell you a bit of a postscript about our daughter Melanie, who had the stroke and the congestive heart failure. She's doing really, really well. She's an artist. She earned her bachelor's, and I'm just so proud of her. And just anything is possible if you believe. So just keep on going, everybody. Anyway, thanks. Bye.